Okay, so up until now, we've talked about all the benefits of gamification. But why actually gamification? Well, it's because I do believe that we are facing a massive engagement crisis. And just to give you a bit data of that, I'll just give you these examples. So, for example, the average attention span of last year was less than 10 seconds, and it's decreasing every single year, which means that you are doing something, you're jumping from one thing to another, but not really getting anything out of it. Apart from that, we delayed more than 90% of all the apps that we download. So it means that you download some kind of app, and just 1 minute afterwards, you just remove it because you don't like it, or because it's not engaging enough, or whatever. Apart from that, besides, according to Gallup's last reports, only 13% of workers are fully engaged by their jobs. So that means that you go to the office and you're not fully satisfied with what you're doing, which means less financial results and worse business performance. Okay, and from this picture, we can see that also kids spend way more time playing than studying. This is a picture from the last birthday that I attended, and then there was no way to get the kids stay calm and just doing something for a long time. But when we said, okay guys, it's time to play video games, they were just there, sitting there, you couldn't move them. It was absolutely outstanding. And it's because video games are really making you lose track of time. Alright, but why is this all happening? You might be wondering, why are we facing this massive engagement crisis? Well, that's because there is something that is called Generation Y, and the next one, which is Generation Z. So just imagine for a moment that you were born in 1985 or 1995 or even 20,000. You were a kid or a teenager, and then you were born, you grew up with technology and with games. The first games were from 1980s, so you've been all your whole life playing. And many of these teenagers nowadays and many of those adults have played more than 10,000 hours, which is the level that they say that you become a master in something. So these guys are all experts in gaming, and gaming and technology share something in common, which is immediate feedback. All these devices that we are having nowadays, they are giving you immediate feedback, which is that you are doing something and then something is happening just then, all of a sudden. So for example, imagine your touchscreen of your iPad, you are pressing it, and then all of a sudden the app is getting open and you are doing just stuff. And for example, World of Warcraft, you are attacking a monster, and then that monster dies, you get a reward, and all that stuff. So when these people get out of that world, of that video games world, and the technological world, they are like this. They are bored. I mean, come on. They go to the office, they go to work, they are just there, and no one is telling them how they're doing. They are getting paid once a month. That's not what they learn in those video games. Or they're going to university and exams are every single month, or every 2 months. That's not really immediate feedback. So what we are trying to do with all this that we are talking in this MOOC is taking the best out of games, that fantastic motivational structure, take that from games and use it in other contexts to change that phase, to turn that phase into these ones. Alright, for those of you who are not familiar with these are the photo portraits of Philip Toledano, which is such a classic at the moment in this kind of gamification world. And these people, you might be wondering, what are these people doing? Well, these people are playing, actually. Might be surprising, but what they're doing is playing. They are absolutely engaged on what they're doing. You see the face. She's surprised, she's conquering, whatever. So they are absolutely engaged, they're absolutely hooked on what they're doing, losing track of time, absolutely engaged. Alright, but at this point you might be wondering, can we apply gamification to everything? Because, alright, we've said that gamification is good, gamification is fantastic for engagement, that comes from games, but are there any cases where gamification might not be implemented or might not be recommendable to implement gamification on those? Alright, there are. Yes, there are, of course. So we have 3 cases. The first one is when there is enough motivation. So for example, imagine yourself, you're meeting your friends for some drinks, or you're meeting your friends for a football match, just that you are motivated enough. There is no need for this kind of gamified structure around that. It's perfectly alright. The second one is when it is a case of utmost speed, usability, or urgency. So for example, imagine when you're going to hospital, You want them to bring you immediately now. You want it now, and you don't want any kind of game. This is not a game, this is serious. Also, when you're buying something, you want to buy it and you want to buy it now. There might be this kind of gamified structure around that, but you want to buy the stuff, and as I said before, you want it now. And the third one is the code of ethics. This is a term coined by Andrzej Marczewski, as we said before in other videos. And then what we mean with this is that gamification might not be suitable for some kind of bad cases. So for example, when we are talking about casinos or drugs, you don't want to gamify that. You don't want to get people engaged with that. Alright, so that was all for this lesson, and see you in the next one.